Before we begin this video, I have a small confession to make. Originally this video was going to be all about the transfer window, discussion points surrounding how a transfer works, what to look for, what to ignore. I was planning on talking about wages and transfer fees, reliabilities of sources and everything in between. A video like this still may happen, but apart from the fact that I'm sure mostly anyone watching this is already fully aware of all that stuff, and also it sounds fucking boring just talking about it, in my research for this video I kept finding that all transfer reporting roads led to a single source. The saying goes that all roads lead to Rome, but in the case of the football transfer window, all roads do lead to that country, but not to Rome. Instead, they lead to Milan, and they lead to one man and one man only. Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. Insider journalists have been an interesting aspect in the footballing world ever since the press and the public's fascination of the transfer window has been ignited by the glitz, glamour and drama of massive money signings. But with the evolution of social media, especially Twitter, the transfer window has taken on a life of its own in modern football, with fans from clubs across the world clamouring for information on potential incomings and outgoings and trying to get the inside scoop on their favourite teams' off-season activity. The transfer window can feel like a game within itself sometimes, with deals seemingly going back and forth between clubs as if they were a football match, hanging in the balance between two evenly matched sides, and deals going over the line in the final minutes of the transfer window celebrated like last-minute cup final winners.
Mesut Ozil is now only playing in the Premier League for Arsenal.
Over the years, many individual major clubs have had their own prospective representatives that fans have looked to for information, be it David Ornstein at Arsenal, Sam Lee at Manchester City or Simon Stone at Manchester United, but no singular source reporting on transfer speculation across all major European leagues has been as reliable, as consistent and has gathered this much of a following as the new Rockstar of the modern transfer window, Fabrizio Romano. Currently sat with 1 million Twitter followers, notably more than some professional players, and 600,000 Instagram followers, Fabrizio has taken social media by storm with his tweets regarding transfer news from all around the world. It's not difficult to tweet about transfer rumours, there's a million accounts that can do that, but the consistency, speed and reliability of Fabrizio Romano is what separates him from Twitter accounts like the Arsenal Horse. There's a fine line when reporting transfer news between being right and being first. Journalists like Gillian Balaguer, who I'd like to point out isn't the most unreliable transfer window journalist, especially with the likes of Goal.com and The Sun churning out bogus articles like no tomorrow, will often report on a transfer before Fabrizio Romano, but with the catch being that he's not always totally reliable. Gilliam often seems to base his reports more on his understanding of a club's situation and his personal feelings towards what might make sense, rather than the cold hard facts or insider information. For an example, here he is in April 2019 talking about Rabiot joining Real Madrid and Cruz leaving, neither of which ended up happening.
Zidane is a big fan and would like somebody like Rabiot to complement Modric, and I think Kroos will be for sale.
However, on the other side of the spectrum you have a reporter like David Ornstein, who, to give him credit, used to be a Fabrizio Romano-esque figure for Arsenal fans when he was working at the BBC, but he is much more reserved in his transfer window reporting now that he works for The Athletic. Unlike Gilliam, he only tweets when he is absolutely sure, and there is very little chance of Ornstein inaccurately reporting. The downside is, this means he often tweets very late into a transfer saga when it has already been spoken about for weeks by all other major sports news publications. Not to rubbish either of these journalists, I've simply used them as an example to illustrate the following point. Some journalists are unreliable but get in early and act on their sources with a scattergun-like approach. Some journalists are very reliable, but with the caveat being that they are slow and they wait until everything is mostly tied up before announcing. The key to Fabrizio Romano's success is that he fits this middle ground. Maybe not the first, but always early to a story, and maybe not totally correct every single time, but correct more often than not. So what about the man himself? Fabrizio Romano is an Italian journalist working for Sky Sports Italy, and he also notably writes for The Guardian on transfer news. The 26-year-old is often captured dipping coolly in and out of taxis and strolling around the streets of Milan in search of transfer news, before being interrupted by an important call where he switches from presenting to the camera in English to rapidly answering in Italian. In an interview with Bleacher Report, he states that his love for the transfer window makes him excited because of the way the signing will make people feel, and that he even prefers the transfer window to actual football matches. I've had to base a lot of this video on his Bleacher Report interview because there's not a lot else online about him. This quote-unquote mystery, of course, just adds to his coolness factor. Fabrizio got his name working as an editor for another famous Italian football reporter, Gianluca Di Marzio, and from there he has worked up an impressive portfolio of sources. I started with Gianluca, and that taught me a lot. The mentality was not to just check information with clubs, but also with agents. We have to have so many sources now. How this all fits into practice is still a bit of an enigma, but maybe that's half the appeal. Their accompanying Bleacher Report video piece, to go alongside their interview with him, shows shots of Fabrizio running around Milan, meeting up with colleagues, jumping in and out of taxis to travel to famous Milan hotels to catch agents and footballing staff who may be arriving, and of course, frantically texting on his phone. The whole thing comes across almost as a Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street-like character, a high-octane businessman always keeping busy and always looking for the scoop. Even at one point in the video, a fan recognises him on the street and approaches him to talk about transfer news. I'm willing to bet there are some top-level elite footballers who could walk around Milan without being bothered. It genuinely does feel that he has become more than a reporter, more than a journalist. Fabrizio Romano is on the verge of being a brand. He even has a slogan. When the transfer is advanced enough that he considers it to be done, he'll sign off his tweets with his catchphrase, "Here we go," like he's fucking Super Mario or something.
Here we go!
Every new Fabrizio tweet beckons a wave of replies from his fans begging him for information on their club, normally followed by responses from fans of rival teams answering on his behalf. It's moronic footy banter between teenagers, don't get me wrong, but I find it entertaining at least, although I wouldn't be surprised if I'm mostly alone on that. Still, interactions like this prove just how much of a following Fabrizio has cultivated in the footballing social media world, with every new tweet feeling like an event or a story in itself. Your mileage will vary on how much you care and how much you buy into something like this. The image and hype around him may not be for everyone, but in the modern game where we not only have superstar players and more recently superstar agents, Fabrizio Romano might just be the first superstar transfer window reporter. There are also signs that this might be the start of a trend. Christian Falk, head of football at famous German newspaper Bild, is slowly amassing his own following this window with his own brand of transfer rumour reporting. Christian will wait until he sees someone else tweet about a transfer window rumour, normally always regarding German football, and will simply tweet true or not true depending on what he knows. Another superstar reporter in the making possibly, although for me he doesn't have that needed cool factor that Fabrizio does. As a final point on the main man, it's safe to say, if there's one man to follow this summer, it's him, and with the transfer rumours filtering through around players like Sancho, Havertz and possibly even Cristiano Ronaldo again, it's shaping up to be a spicy one, and I have no doubt Fabrizio will be there to tweet us all the way through it. And that's that. Thanks for watching all the way through if you did. I went for a more light-hearted topic on this one, which will hopefully result in a bit of a shorter video and some more memes, which I hope all the kids will love. Bring in those subscribers. I have memes in my video now and jokes. Anyway, if you want any more content, it's on the screen right now. Stick around, more of these videos to come. And again, thank you.